we've looked at extending the growth towards the tips of the branches, but what about adding extra branches that shoot off of the main trunk or internodes? To do this, we can once again place a new growth into the graph, and this time we're going to drag and drop. We're going to drag this pin into the far right input of the grow. Once again, we can turn on offset. We'll talk more about what this does in another video so that we can see the color preview more accurately. And then with this new grow, we can go ahead and increase the pitch. You'll see that we get these new branches created at every single step of growth, including at intersections where we already have forking behavior. For me personally, I'd prefer to only get these lateral branches where we don't already have an existing fork. There's a number of ways to achieve this, but the most direct route is to place a switch. I'll place the switch near to the wire connecting grow 3 to grow 1, and then I'll drag the wire into the output of the switch. Then we'll take the green pin of the switch and plug it into the grow. If we now explore the switch settings, we can see that we have a condition which says when height is greater than or equal to 0.5, we should evaluate to true. If we change the height threshold, we're going to see that we start cutting off the lower branches. And if we were to change this condition to be the opposite, then we would see we would only get these branches below that height threshold. We can map by any of the attributes, or we can switch by any of the attributes that we can use to map by. And so we can go and, for example, have a random probability of branching. In this case, I actually want to have a condition which checks if we already have a fork. To check if there's already a fork, the attribute we want to use is going to be branch count. We're going to say if the branch count is equal to 1, then we'll allow the branching to happen. If we set it to be equal to 2, then we would allow the branches only to be created on these splitting points. I'm going to set it back to 1 since this is the behavior that I would like. We can chain as many of these conditions as we want, either by adding new switches to the graph or by pressing this plus icon. Like this, it's possible to get fine-grained control over where we would like to add the branches. Once you're happy with the general placement of these branches on the main structure of the tree, we can start thinking about how we'd like them to be shaped. Once again, we can increase the recursion counter to start elongating the growth. And this time, I think we don't really want to have these branches be the exact same thickness as the parent branch or trunk that's created them. So we can go to the Initialize tab and we can bring down the start width scale. Much like the parent, we can go to the Recursion tab and add a bit of forking probability. And I think currently these branches are still a little bit too big. So I'm going to go back to the initial parameter set and pull down the start length scale, the start width scale once more. And then I'm also going to add a bit more aggressive tapering of the width. If we taper the length, this can also work. To control the angle that these branches leave their parent, we use the initial pitch. And we can allow them to grow a little bit longer if we want to, or decrease the fork probability. At this stage, I would probably just add another gravitropism effector to get a little bit of ability to sculpt the shape of these branches. And as before, let's go ahead and map this.